Hi, everybody. Welcome to the my show about eclipses tonight. Tonight, there will be an eclipse, and it's actually at a civil time, and I'll explain the timetable to you. So, if you're anywhere in the U.S., you can see it. Can't help you with the rest of the world. I have enough trouble handling Eastern through Pacific time, and I then have to get into Atlantic time every once in a while. But anyway, it's a full moon. It's the moon is really close to the Earth. And because of sort of the way things work out this time of year, it's like a full moon 2 nights in a row. And it's actually called in our, all moons have a full moons have different names. I've done a show on that. And this is the harvest moon, which we've all heard of. And this, for some reason, this moon always seems bigger than any other moon we have. And the harvest moon eclipse, it's not going to be a complete eclipse. And when the moon gets eclipsed, it turns copper and it or red, depending on how your eyes see it. And it's going to go about 3/4 of the way and then go back. So the harvest moon is tonight. It starts at 8:41. That's when you see the shadow start to move across the moon. Eastern time. That makes it 7:41 Central Time, 6:41 Mountain Time, and 5:41 Pacific Time. So if you're sitting in Pacific Time saying still be too bright, it's actually going to last until 10 p.m. Pacific Time. So in the East Coast, it's going to be from 8:41 to approximately 1 p.m. In Central Time, it's going to be 7:41 to approximately 12 midnight. Then it's going to be 6:41 to 11 p.m. Mountain Time and 5:41 to 10 p.m. Uh, Pacific Time. So you should be able to see the moon somewhere in there. Um, Someone's having Indian summer where they are. I don't know what GB it is. That could be Great Britain, but I'm not sure. Or it may be the print's sort of weird. So it could be that they're trying to tell me something, but they did one of those little emojis and it didn't work. But thank you, Angela. I appreciate the reach. Um, what do we do? Okay. What do we do with this harvest moon? Well, first of all, it's in Pisces. And Pisces is, I'm going to use some astrologic terms on you. Don't click me off. It's going to be in Pisces. Pisces is a mutable sign. That it means that when things are happening in that sign, they can change easily. There's a lot of flexibility. Fixed signs, things happen the way they happen. Uh, Cardinal signs, that's the kickoff. That's where the motion starts. Mutable signs is where it can move. And it's time. What does a harvest moon mean? We got harvest moon from the American Indians lexicon of what to call the moons. And the harvest moon is the time when we take stock of what we've sown, we bring in the crops, we harvest, and we take inventory of what we have, and we begin to distill and keep what we want to have go forward in the future. Now, I don't know what all of y'all do, but if you farm, then you do that. You can farm in weird places. Like I always had tomatoes until into November on my bushes here in Texas, but we have warmer weather. But where it gets cooler, it's starting to really feel cooler, and it's time to bring in the crops and look at what you've done. But each and every one of us, this is the time of year where the light is going towards the equinox in September on the 22nd of September. And that means that's the time when the light begins to shift and change and go away. So this is when we have the most photonic energy from the sun coming in and working with us. And we need to treat this time with that kind of respect. And That's why if you don't normally write your let go lists, release lists, this is the time to do that. It is the one. It's the one full moon, the one in the fall, is the one I never miss doing that list, because you've built your crops and now you can kind of weed through and decide which one to keep, which one to let go of. It's a time when we begin to seek the balance between work and rest. A lot of times, I know when I lived where it was warm in the summer, and then cool, and then got to be winter. Yeah, this was definitely the time of year when you ran around and tried to get everything done before the first snowflakes fell. I don't like snow. And so it is that time of year where you start to switch from work to rest, and and do some contemplation of where you've been and where do you want to be a year from now. What do you want to still have with you? Take stock of what you've been using, who you've been with, and distill for your future growth. It's that kind of weeding out system. In my garden, I have a space called restate, and that's what it is. All those things look lovely at the time, and the plants grew, but now they've grown too much, and they need to be checked and brought in and weeded out. And that's what you are. And we want to distill our life for the future. We want to pick the things that we know works and the things that we really, really want to participate in. And one the other thing besides, and people say, well, what kind of a list should I write? You need to get quiet. And I know sometimes, oh, it's Great Britain. GB is Great Britain. Okay, thank you. You want to go inside yourself, write out a list of things you want to let go of. And you can write out the reason that it doesn't function anymore, or that it's weighing you down. It can be bad habits. It can be good habits that have become intrusive in your life. I had a friend who had to put on her list to cut down on the amount of exercise she was doing, because exercise had become her hiding place and she wasn't dealing with things because of the amount she was exercising. So what do we do now? We write them out on a list, and you can put as much detail or as little detail. You can put just code words that you unconsciously understand. I have to move my cup of tea. I realize I might spill it on my keyboard here, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, I just moved it. Sorry. And then what you're going to do is you can take that list, and one of the things I found in the past to getting into the right mood to write that list is I light a candle. And any candle will do, but some people say light blue or violet is better. I'm not that. I mean, a candle, you need the flame. You're going to look into the flame, try to get your head clear, and get yourself more sensitive. And then you're going to create a list of what you really want to let go. What you are letting go of. I don't say what I want to let go, it's what I'm letting go of. And you write out your list, and then you fold the paper up. You write it on a piece of paper, fold the paper up, go to a safe place where you can burn the paper. And that can be over a sink or a toilet or wherever. Just don't burn your house down. I'd feel really bad if you did that. And you burn the paper, and then you get rid of all the ash. You can take it outside, put it on the ground. You can flush it down the toilet. I've run it through my disposal. But whatever you want to do, and get it out. And then what you sit down, while you're in that kind of clarity and you've done that kind of washing out, you write a new gratitude list. Just 3 or 4 things you're really grateful right now. Because this whole season is leading us to being grateful for the crops we've brought in, being grateful for the fact we can move on. And that's what the letting go is about. And this particular lunar eclipse has that whole energy just innately in it because of the time of year it is. Now, in some parts of the world, this is called it's called dragon energy, and it's a time when they say dragons are closer to the earth. So I asked Cecil, my dragon, if he was closer to the earth, and he said yeah, and that if you want to call on dragon energy, you can call on dragon energy when you get clear what you want to get rid of. You can call in a dragon if you have one in your life, or this may be the time to meet the dragon, and the dragon will help move the energy from your life. And then that's really it's the other thing you can do, and I've done this before. So I'll go out. Cecil, you go by. Studio. Uh, you go out and you walk in the moonlight and get that extra reflective energy and that feeling, and try to get that sense of harmony. This is a time to find harmony and balance and clarity for yourself. And that's why this energy is so important today. And I have a moon card that I really like in my tarot. And one suggested, besides lighting a candle and glaring at it, if you have tarot cards, look at the moon card and look at the images in the moon card and see how they make you feel and what they make you want to do. But this is my moon card. Isn't she gorgeous? That's Haniel. And that is my archangel. That is the one. I had a necklace made in England that has the blue that's in her dress, and her symbol is a feather. Haniel is there to help you review your plans. Sometimes when things aren't quite right, this angel and guide can lovingly take you to understanding what changes need to be made. It's only human that we have moments when we get worried and uncertain, but this card is meant to reassure you that when you're facing your fears, you can overcome them and evolve into a higher level. If you're having trouble with your list, ask Archangel Haniel to shed light on all facets of your life. And she's got the cute little white dog here in the corner. She's just a gorgeous thing. Now, if you look at a traditional moon card in the tarot, it's always, there's usually crustaceans crawling out of water, going between two pillars. The moon is way off, and there may or may not be people on it, depends on who drew the cards. But it's obviously something transitioning from the watery unconscious depths out into the land. So that's why the moon's such an important symbol for us when we're doing all this good stuff. And I have one more card to share with you today. And I just got a new deck, and it's the Fairy Oracle deck, Fairy Wisdom Oracle. The cards are beautiful, and their moon card is a dragon, and that's the kind of dragon that can come see you. Now, if you want to have a chant to work with the dragon, you can do this one. Mistress Moon, help me to ebb and flow gently with your tide. Allow the dragons within me to subside. Bring me peace and harmony just as you can calm the sea. Release my emotions to infinity so I may have divinity. So be it. And wish for a happy moonbeam day today. And he's kind of a cute dragon too. He's not as cute as Cecil, but he'll do. And with that, I kind of end. I've got questions here. If you want to put in questions about the ceremony or how to work with it or whatever. But I did get one from Sarah. How will my next year's adventures go? My level up day is Saturday the 21st. I will be at level 46. Thanks. I'm not sure what you're leveling up for or who, but I'm going to do a quick reading. What have I done? Oh, here there. I thought I've already. It's a strange day here. Things are getting lost. When this show's over, I'm going to take a little time to rest. Although I have a show with Danny tomorrow, and it's going to be on pendulums and dowsing and seeking wisdom from other places. So, but we're going to answer your question. How will my next year of adventures go? Okay, one more. And I'm using the Marchetti deck. It's a beautiful deck. It's got lots of pictorial information on each card. Well, it's a yes, but you've been through a Seven of Swords year where you've had people around you. They may have taken stuff away from you, and this may be what you need to let go now because they left the Two Swords with you. And that's what you can work with. This is the Two Swords. And don't worry about the thief, and don't worry about the 5 that they took away. It's going to be a meaningful year for you emotionally. Your energies are going to go to the Page of Cups. And he brings strong emotional messages. And then you've got the 7 of Coins. Whatever you plant this year, it's going to grow into a vibrant crop. But what you're going to have to watch out for this year, and it's still a yes, but your head and your heart are going to fight about things. Relinquish your energy to your heart when you're in a dilemma. And it is going to be a coins kind of day. You're going to benefit from it. I think there's going to be parts of this year where you're going to feel more isolated. But on the whole, it's all on a positive trajectory. And it may be that you need to learn how to be alone and on your own this time. I hope that answers your question, Sarah. Going back to comments. And I marked some comments that I saw coming in. And okay. Okay. Hi, I asked my neighbor to put gutters in and drainage on the road because I'm getting all of his roof water and it's affecting my slab for my house. I have my own drain. Will he put his in soon? Thanks. Okay, we're going to do a yes, no on him putting in a drain. I don't know how the rules read in your part of the world, but in mine, if someone does something on their property that affects my property, they're responsible for it. But I don't know where you live. I don't know how your rules work. Some people, it's like, once it's off my property, it's not my problem anymore. I used to live in a little house that the house was built in the 20s, and all the other houses around me had been built up into McMansions, and we were the only house that hadn't. And it's because everybody had directed their water into the alley behind the house, and wherever it rained, we had a river. And I finally had to move out of the house because the pipes were breaking apart, and it had gas in this house. It was kind of a scary thing. It was 50 years ago when that was going on. Okay. When your neighbor, you're going to have to find some stronger way to deal with him. Being nice and polite ain't going to work. You got all no's. You got no, he doesn't listen to your statements. He's really not inclined to get out of his little cage and do much of anything. He doesn't care what kind of harm he causes. It's not his problem, is basically his thought. And you're just going to have to take over and become the magician and make it work. Wish I had better news. for you, but that's what I got. And actually, when I read your question, um, I don't know what you can. I mean, I don't know how property laws work where you are. Here, you're kind of not allowed to float your neighbors out. But and this one needs to go hide. Okay. And Jen Miranda says it was so windy last night. It uprooted one of our older, larger eucalyptus trees. It just missed the structures of my chickens. I'm so grateful for that blessing. I've been asking my guide for signs. They'll protect you. They're just letting you know, you are still subject to nature. And if you have big trees, I used to live in a condominium and we were on 15 acres of ground. And we had big old trees that had been planted in the late 40s, early 50s. And a lot of them had grown to the end of their life. But when people bought a condominium, they wanted the tree that was right next to their unit. I totally understood that. Also, the developers who moved in there and built the place up had put in maples, had put in weeping willows, which are not the best thing in Texas anyway, unless you're right by a creek. But they brought in some, they're called globe willows, and they're gorgeous trees. They grow really fast, make tons of shade, and when they die quickly, and they have a huge root system. And I was on the board at the time, and we had tree evaluators come out and tell us how we could balance our trees out, because we had a lot of them that were dying on the inside, and people would get so angry at us because we were trying to help the property not get hurt. We had one person who just threw an absolute fit, and the tree guy said, well, we can sort of thin that willow out, but when it goes the way we're looking at how it's leaning now, it's going to fall into the driveway and the parking lot. We don't think it's going to hit the building. So getting those out there were such big trees, cost a lot more money than we had. So we just put it on the next year's agenda. That fall, we had an enormous amount of rain, and the ground got very soft. And just the sheer weight of that willow, wasn't a windy day or anything, it just fell over. And the person who'd really griped me out because we wanted to take the willow away, and we said it's really dangerous. If it lands on the building, it's going to cause real problems. She came up to me and apologized and said, I had no idea how big these trees are. You don't till they fall down. And I'm sure that you're out there looking at it, Jen, going, woo, miss the structures and your chickens. Good for you. That would be on the top of my gratitude list tonight, by the way, if I were you. Hi, Dr. Gail. Okay. Talk about the pendulums. I saw you in your last video on pendulums and the various charts from Subtil. Thank you. It was so much information, and that is a great pendulum site. We're going to put that up when Danny and I do this. But what Danny and I are going to talk about this time is using the chart Danny created and talk about the Bovis chart, which is a vibrational chart of where your vibration is. And it goes from 0 to 100. If you're 0, you're not alive. You can't hold a pendulum. If you're 1,000, you're really getting into your light and into your strength. So we're going to talk about ways that Danny and I have found that work for that. Happy birthday, everybody. Yeah. Any insights this year regarding my healing practices? I take it you are a healer. I'm just going to ask it the way you said it, and maybe the cards will tell me all the details. But it is a time of change, and if you are trying to heal yourself from bad habits or problems or people, toxic things that have been hurting you, this is a time of year to let them go. Alexander. Well, you're getting clearer visions of what to do, and it's going to have some new stuff start up. Oh, You got a great reading. It shows that it's really a good emotional thing for you. That you got the Ten of Cups, and you've got the World, which means you're really beginning to understand how all this works for you. And this may actually be where you're going to begin to expand how you work together with the information that you use. You've got the Nine of Swords upside down, which is a good way because you're not having nightmares about this anymore. And I think by the end of the fall, fall starts on September 22nd, remember, you're going to be moving on to new things. And if you're thinking about moving into a structure or moving into a practice with other people, that would be a good idea because you got the Four of Wands, and that's unifying and building a base with other people. So I hope that helps you, Alexandra. I'm going to be doing something about the equinox. The next couple of solstices and equinox um, are going to be very, very interesting because how the earth energy and how ley lines are moving. And what's happening is ley lines get, if you know what they are, there's lines that go around the world, and it's the elementals travel on them. And that's why we're seeing more and more of the elementals, is because the ley lines are staying stable and they're broadening and they're widening. And when they first started finding ley lines, well, I knew where they were for a long time, but we really started studying. In England, there's actually a Google Maps site where you can draw when you find a ley line where it is. And some of the ley lines, it's not like they move vast distances, but they would kind of waver coming up to when they were moving along a path. Well, now they've quit wavering. They've gotten, and they're getting explosively larger. They're like doubling and tripling in their width. And according to messages that people who work with that kind of earth energy, uh, I'm curious about it, but I don't work with it particularly. But I do follow the ley line in front of my house. And when I first found it, well, first of all, my guides were telling me there's a ley line by you, and I kept going out looking around. And then I was talking to an architect friend, and he said, if you have a tree with a lot of gnarls on it, the burls, the things up the trunk, that's on a ley line because there's so much energy on the ley line and the root systems in it, and those burls are kind of like abnormal growths on them. And so I looked out, and lo and behold, there was this tree with gnarls. And then I looked around, and I would walk around it, and the whole area is beautiful. It's bright and green and everything. So I'm thinking, well, which way does the ley line run? And the next thing I knew, I went out and we'd had a snap frost. It was 2 years ago. We had a snap frost. And I went out, and away from that tree, one direction was it was bright yellow. The grass had died. It was bright yellow from the frost. Not all the grass, just this path of the grass. And then there was a path that went the other way, that went down into the creek bed. And I went, oh. So I got my pendulums out, and I dowsed, and I found that the line was a ley line. And when it's activated like that, you can really feel the energy change. And so I go out and talk to Hogarth all the time. That's my tree. And I now know where the ley line was supposed to run. Well, since that happened 2 years ago, it's more than doubled in width. When I walk across with my pendulum, and I say, am I on the ley line? And it'll swing yes. And the second I get about a foot off, it goes no. Because you got to be, ley lines are like railroad tracks with electricity. So Rossi asked if this works. May I have a full moon reading for this month? This moon's going to bring a lot of changes to you, Ross. Rossi. There's a king of coins here. It can be a dark-haired person who helps you control money, and you've had some disagreement with this person, but that's bringing about some changes for you, which are good. That's the death card. Death doesn't mean death. Death means change. Um, and you're feeling very, very defensive about what's going on around you right now, but you're going to be the victor in it. You need to stand by your own beliefs. That's the Six of Wands. So that's your full moon reading. Something's happening around you right now, and you need to strike a new bargain with this person because you need to take control of your own power. Okay. Oh. Oh. Alexandria found me on Linda G when I was on with Sean. Good. I was sitting at home one day and all of a sudden Sean calls and says, "You're supposed to be on with Linda G and me and Andre." And I went, "What?" I didn't realize that. So, okay, show. I had an experience the night before last. I was looking at the night sky and I saw a single large flash. It went to bed, developed a migraine, and I'm still a little bit dizzy. I was wondering what that was. I think you saw a meteorite. That's what I think you saw. And it was so sudden and such a shock to you. But right now, so much new energy and clear energy is coming through um, that people need to work with that and just relax. Don't make too much of it. Just say, okay, I saw this marvelous thing and try to relax. Show. How do I use crystals in the full moon rituals? Well, you can put crystals outside the full moon and it's supposed to rearrange their energies. I don't live in a neighborhood where I can put them out where they're not kind of where other people can come by. So I don't do that. Um, you can pick I would pick soothing stones. I would pick light blue stones, blue lace agate, uh, azurite, apatite, those kind of stones. I'd pick those stones to work with. I'd also have a, I would also have, if you have any moonstone, that's a real thing called a moonstone. If you have a moonstone, Linda, find that and put it out. I'd arrange them with this particular moon. I would create something that was the crystals were laid out in fives, like a pentagram. And the reason I'm saying that is because this moon is for change. And I would have some citrine in there for abundance. And I'd probably, you're stoned on it, but this is obsidian. It cools so fast it doesn't have any crystals in it, but it's from lava. You can find lots of obsidian in small pieces. Doesn't have to be a big chunk like that. I put some obsidian in there to ground everything. And I think and then you just arrange it how you feel happy with it because that's the best way to do it. Um, but like I said, if you can set out your main stones into fives. And yeah, I'm getting some comments that eucalyptus trees do not have great roots, so they tend to blow over. I wouldn't know. I've never had a eucalyptus tree. Um, okay, and Bernie. Bernie wants a 3-month reading. Okay. I'm going to give you a 5-card 3-month reading when I normally do 3 months reading. Carl write your question in. Your question is every bit as important as everybody else. And do not sit there and play modest. If you want to know something, ask it, okay? I can't read for you unless you ask. Well, I can, but that's cosmic spying, and I don't like to do that. Okay. A lot of change this month. It's in the stars. Okay. Well, you've been living with the Seven of Cups, and you've had a lot of illusions and delusions, and somehow or another you're letting them go. You're not being the fool anymore and just walking off any cliff. You're taking care of things. And that for you, Vernie, is a change in some ways. What you want to do is rearrange your house. There's something in your house you really, really want to fix or get taken care of. And you're going to have the ability to do that by spring. But you're going to start the planning during this 3 months. Yay. I don't know. You need to talk to a tax accountant. I don't know what you're talking about. I used to be a tax accountant, but I paid the taxes on giant airplanes, so they don't relate to property tax. Hi, Cartomancy. I'm so sorry I missed your party, but I got a paying gig, and you know how that goes. Okay. We had boxwoods where I grew up, but I never planted a boxwood tree. I planted trees that you'd find in Texas. And as I remember, there was a yard next to me had a boxwood tree. And it also I remember it had lots of bugs that lived in it, but they said they were good for the ground. So, okay. Darlene wants to know something quick. Let's see what I can find. Yeah, this is a good season for you, Darlene. There is something you definitely need to unburden yourself from. There's someone who's been around you about money, and whatever they're talking to you about, it's become a burden for you to even hear it. But what's happening right now is you're realizing you have to speak up for yourself, take care of this, and that will free you from the dilemma. You're between a rock and a hard place, you think, but you really are not, because you show up as the Queen of Swords at the end. And the Queen of Swords is an interesting character. She carries her sword around to stick in everybody's bag of bullshit. So I think you've been involved in something where you've kind of, and it's not huge, it's not like millions of dollars. Someone's been on you about something and you are not sure you want to get involved in it. And you're right. Just tell them no. Hi, Nancy, and everybody in the chat. Wake up every day. It's close to 3 p.m. Is there meaning in this for me? Yes. Fatima, go look at a website about Chinese medicine, and they have a whole thing about if you wake up at certain times, what part of your body is rearranging itself enough to wake you up. I used to have several of them in the middle of the night. I'd be hitting 2 o'clock all the time. 3 o'clock, as I remember, was your body detoxifying itself, and it's something to do with your liver. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your liver. It just means that's when it's really working. But you can look up in Chinese medicine and look up awakening in the middle of the night. They've got a whole theory on that. And I wouldn't trust my memory to tell you exactly what's correct. So, okay. I'm not an astrologer, Joyce. I'm sorry to tell you. Um, I've been reading a lot about it today. Uh, Go to, I'm trying to remember, it's Astro something. You can actually put all your time and things in. It'll draw up a chart and it will give you a pretty good, it's a computerized reading of what's happening right now. I don't, I know just enough astrology, as I keep telling people, I know just enough to be dangerous. But you do have some planets where a lot of this stuff's going on right now. Simple life. Well, let's hope your next 3 months are simple life reading, okay? I'm going to switch decks. Don't take any offense to that, but sometimes when my cards start getting sticky, it means I've asked that deck too many questions, and it doesn't like being that happening. So my decks actually wear out, and they don't wear out in the traditional way. I mean, they still look fine, and they will shuffle fine for other people, but after using them for so long, they kind of get tired with me. And when I worked at the vintage shop, we used to sell my decks. We'd mark them and say, because I kept the instruction book in the little box it came in and everything. And Saturday night, I saw the woman that I used to work in her vintage shop, and I told her I've got like 4 decks since I walked out of there 4 years ago. I've got about 4 decks that I need to figure out what to do with, because I won't throw a deck away. And she said, "Oh, bring in any of the decks you don't want. We'll sell them." So, got to bundle them up and take them down. Simple life. Next 3 months. And you're getting my bunny cards. These are my new little bunny cards. See the little bunny? See the little bunny on it? Here, see my little bunnies? Okay. Since I did that, I'm going to shuffle it one more time before I do your reading. Okay, simple life. Oh. Okay. Good season for you. You've been feeling like you had to be in charge. You had to take care of everything. And you've been in an argument with someone else that you deal with money about and how to spend it all. And you've got in the 9 of Pentacles, that's usually the lady standing in the garden that has everything she could ever want. Your whole reading is about nothing but money and some figuring out what to do with it. But your next card in the next little bit is going to be Temperance, and you're going to figure out how to do it, and you're going to be able to do it without having to work so hard. That's the 8 of Pentacles. That's working hard. So, simple life, you've been, either you and a person have been arguing about money or trying to figure out how to get the money. And what I see is you're going to get the money without having to work so hard, because you're going to think of a way to balance out what you need. Oh, here's an answer, Fatima. It's your biological clock that's tuning to the frequency of 3 a.m. time. I forgot where you can search for it, but it happened to me, but it was a different time. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff because when my clock was going off all the time, weirdly, I was always looking that up. Can you look, Nancy? Can you look at my how if I'm learning my gifts? Wondering if the energy's around me at this time. Okay. Okay. Heavenly Blessed Honey's gifts. Yes. And you've been on a journey for a while and you're almost getting there. And you started looking for your gifts because of troubling things that happened around you, but they didn't slip in as quickly as you thought. You thought like you'd stand there like a magician to just make it work. But you work better in something where you work with others. That means you can't do everything all on your own, but you're going to understand it soon and get you're going to get a real boost and say, oh, that's what it is. And you're going to get away from the negative part of your brain that says you can't do that. That's the Page of Swords reversed. He's a negative little critter when he wants to be. They're expanding. You just need to look out for them and acknowledge them when you get them. And whatever you're doing, it has to do with working with others. Okay. How can the next 3 months look for increasing my income? Job opportunities. Okay. I'm going to say that, are you going to have an increase in the next? Okay. Yeah, you haven't been able to find what you've been looking for. That's the Nine of Cups reversed. And this is, oh, and it's meant that things can't be done around your house you want to have done. But you've got the Seven of Cups, so some part of it is you're not looking in the right place. You're looking at things you think are going to work. But then I show relatively soon you are going to have a real change because that's a card of victory. And you're going to be put in a position where you can have the money you need. That's the King of Pentacles. He brings in money. Your biggest problem is self-doubt. I think you aim at jobs that are lower than your skill level, and you need to think more, look for something that you might have to expand a little bit, get to. Okay. Okay. I have a winter outlook. And if someone's looking to expand their skills and you've always wanted to learn about tarot, Jeffrey and I are putting together a tarot class. It's to be decided when it's going to start because we had a couple of people who wanted to start, but they had to wait till later into October before they'd have the time free. It's a 6-week course that's classwork. And then there's going to be 4 additional sessions after we do the classwork where we're just going to meet and learn how to read. I teach you numerology so you can understand the minor arcana. We go through the Fool's Journey to explain the major arcana. And I've had people who said to me, well, I have people in that class who said, I could never figure out how to read the cards, but they figured it out. When you see it laid out in kind of a logical, broken down in little pieces way, it makes it much easier. And one of the people who took my class, she said she learned so much about the tarot and the power of that. And she created a readers group. They called themselves the Black Cat Tarot. And 5 or 6 of them would meet once a week after we finished the course. And I went to the last session of them last Thursday. And by learning tarot, she began to understand what she was supposed to be doing was a certain kind of healing. So she is now taking a year off to go learn that kind of healing. So tarot can teach you a lot of insights about everything else you might want to learn about. So, Leah, let's see. What's your winter outlook? Okay. It's kind of going to be a mixed bag. You're going to have the 9 of Pentacles. You're going to feel very happy in where you are. See, she's sort of standing in the garden. The Knight of Cups is going to bring you some new ideas for you, because where you are right now is the Queen of Wands. You're upside down. You're not happy there. And you're going to have to break away and do something that's a little less the way Leah always would have done it to get through, so that you can plant a new crop for yourself. That's 7 of Pentacles. So you're going to be going through some changes this winter, and it's because you're going to realize you can do more than you thought you could. It's a good reading. Let's see. Okay. As it happens, Madhu, I have the garden set up. So for those of you who have only seen me read tarot or only know about tarot, I have a thing called the Oracle Garden, and we're going to switch cameras so you can see it. It's for Madhu. The 5 stones in the garden are body, mind, spirit, grounding, and clarity. And okay, what's Madhu's going to happen around Madhu for the next 3 months? We're going to have more changes in the fall. So, and I have to start with the heart, because when this is the heart chakra, and when things land in the heart, you start there. And wisdom comes from the clarity of your emotions. That's what you need to work on the most. Then restate. I think you're rethinking what grounds you and what makes you feel settled, and what you're most grounded in, and that's important. You're having a change in your spirit. This is you really need to think your way through the past and see how your past got you to where you are, and what of your past you want to recreate, or do you want to recreate any part of it. Your body is in air, which means your thoughts need to be grounded in your body, in your mind, and how you're thinking about the world's most important. Okay. The real deal is getting clear with your past and relooking at everything and figuring out, how did I get from here to there? I think you're going to resolve it. These 2 are kind of near winter. This is summer. This is the fall, and that starts on the 22nd of September, and you're going to be able to move through that and get some clarity. It doesn't show me when you're going to change. You didn't ask about that. You asked about where you're going to be for the next 3 months. You're going to be doing a lot of self-evaluation, and you've got a little bit of the mind in the water. This little bitty bit, there's a little bitty bit of the Mind Stone that ended up in water, and that tells you to let go of limitations. So you need to think bigger, stronger, and not be limited by how you view your past. I hope that helps. Let's see. Okay. Um, what am I? Let's see. What's the future for Christina's finances? I'm going to read it in the garden because I'm set up here. Oh, you got in your crown chakra. You got clarity. Everything's about to become very clear to you about your future finances. Your concerns about your finances right now. This is where your mind is, and it's in fire. And it says, don't become too tied to false energies of the past. You have to be thinking ahead. And your body, oh, you're making me do this. Okay. We're going to start with grounding. Grounding, the things that you've been investing in and doing right now, those are becoming your long-term patterns, and they're really important. You're going to figure out how important they are this winter. What is? You've gone through a real period of change recently, and those are really heading out into long-term things now. Your body has been your grounding is really important to you right now, and you've gotten past, and you rely on things you know have worked for you in the past. That's most important. And then you've got, so what helps coming from you getting yourself kind of all in one place about it. So what I would say is you're moving in the right direction. Look at what's worked in the past. Your thinking is in the right direction, and you've gone through some transformation about how you think about money, and that's helping you right now because of these stones, and that will help you in the future. I hope that kind of helps you figure out what you're doing. Let me quickly look down and see if there's, because I'm 3 minutes from being off of here. Okay, this is Tammy. The flash was nothing like I've ever seen before. It's like someone put a giant flashlight on and off. There was no tail, nothing after. I don't know. What I felt was something from the sky. If you might want to talk to Dr. Gale about that vision, because it sounds like some of her friends came to visit you. Okay. Okay. I'm going to do a quick reading for Carl about the funds that are coming in. Oh, you're all over the place, Carl. Let's see. But you've got a stone in future, so um, um, it's not here yet. It's something still has to be settled before it's coming towards you. You've got your clarity stone in air, and when the clarity is in air, and you just have to keep your head clear about it. You've doubted it for a while that it was going to come through at all, and some of how you're evaluating how this turns out, you have to reconsider that before it'll come through. But your spirit has go for it, and that's his spirit's aligned with these ideas, and the spirit's true. there's going to be great harmony in the plan. So it may take a little bit longer than you thought it was going to take. And your body is in the sacral chakra. And you're going to use it by following it, figure out a creative way to open it up, to open the channel for that money up. And don't think about, oh, the times it didn't work before. Just think about it coming through now, okay? And now, really fast. Okay, guys, it's been an hour, and I'm all by myself. I get tired, so I'm going to come back and say goodbye. And I really cannot encourage you enough. We are in such a point of change. You really need to get out there and write up those lists and do those things. Oh, if Simple Life, Google Chinese body clock. Somebody put that in too. So look at it that way. And let's see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to say goodbye and have a blessed full moon partial eclipse in Pisces, which is a very emotional sign. So you have a good day. Bye.